In case you missed it, Sony's press conference was a little bit weird. How weird, you ask? There are millions of people in California, and they gotta find the one white gangly dude to play this ancient Japanese instrument. Oh man, the fun really didn't stop there. Hundreds of people throughout the conference were ushered into a series of different rooms that just basically had a big screen and some kind of performance art piece until a series of trailers played. For us watching at home, we got to see during that time when people were walking around and experiencing the art in the middle of the press conference, how great the conference is going from some PR people. Finally, when the dust did settle, we had 3 to 4 top-tier trailers for AAA games, 1 new announcement, but everything else was pretty well-tread territory. What we didn't get, though, was any real discussion from anyone at Sony as to their philosophy on game design and where they believe the PlayStation is going. We saw a lot of that from Microsoft and Ubisoft. It really seemed like Sony had a conceptual idea that made sense in LA for this press conference, but for those at home, there was no real reason to watch it live. Now, there was some pretty good stuff, so let's get into it. Tonally, the Last of Us 2 trailer that everyone's raving about was a deeply disturbing mess. The transition between a beautiful, vulnerable lesbian kiss directly into that same woman twisting a knife into a dude's neck. I understand the very obvious text here about the love dying and hate winning out, but earnestly, it's a little bit much when you're trying to care about these different characters. Fortunately, from there, the trailer was the most competent of expressions of a game that I've seen at E3. The reactivity of the world, the micro animations of Ellie and the enemies in real time make every encounter feel like a real scripted cutscene. Technically, I haven't seen anything quite this impressive before. I'm just hopeful that Naughty Dog, who by the way, let's not forget, swept accusations of internal sexual assault under the rug, hopefully their storytelling will match their technical achievements. So once the white dude playing the pan flute was over, we got to see some extended footage from Ghost of Tsushima, definitely saying that incorrectly, from Sucker Punch. This is one of the most beautiful and competent, again, looking games that we got to see at the conference. The fluidity of combat, the movement between each of these samurai's moves, how it seems quick but also slow, was absolutely brilliant. The final scene where they're having the standoff while the Japanese lilies are falling beside them is something that you get from a great Kurosawa movie of that time. And to think that this is the same developer that made, Sly Cooper and Infamous, it shows a lot of their range. We did get to see that the combat will be fun, interactive, that same level of micro expressions and animations that we saw in The Last of Us, where every little movement that you make has hundreds of other little movements within it. I think compositely, when you put that all together, it creates something that just feels a lot more real. And that's the most exciting thing for me, when these games can feel that much more real when they're trying to convey some very serious topics. So we didn't get a release date for that, but again, your 2 Japanese samurais fighting the Mongol hordes look sexy as hell. All right. Now this next bit was from Kojima himself. I don't know if anyone can exactly explain it to me, but it seemed very embarrassing that this is the sort of auteur that this industry has. It was an extended cutscene, a basic walking simulator of his new game, Death Stranding. I have no conception of any human being that could watch that trailer and then be excited. I understand that maybe it's just the mythos of, oh, we're getting lost in it a little bit again. I wonder what all of the hidden secrets are gonna mean. I get that impulse. It's a fun thing to do. We all watched Lost. Please tell me in the comments below exactly what this game means to you and why you would ever spend your hard-earned money on it, because I just frankly don't understand. They did end out the show with something a little more impressive. The new Spider-Man, we got to see the Sinister Six all come together, beat the hell out of a little old Spidey. It seems to be that same web-slinging fun that we remember from almost a decade ago, very frenetic combat. For me, it really felt like it was, instead of a game where you explore a world, it was a roller coaster ride where new combatants are hitting you in the face, you're flying through as things are happening around you. The banter really misses out on the new Spider-Man Tom Holland. If he was actually in this game, I think that would be a big coup because it does seem a little unfairly juvenile. But ultimately, it looked beautiful, it flowed nicely, and it was exciting. Again, all games that we've heard of before, all games that, if I am correct, were featured in last year's E3. Stuff that I didn't think was worth talking about, a Resident Evil 2 remake that's coming out next year. Leon has a very weird face. Remedy Games are making another time-twisting 3D person action game called Control. Reminds me a little bit of Psyops. We saw that Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer for the third time. It's nearly been in all of the press conferences. And, Neo is getting a sequel. Overall, this seems like a very lackluster performance from Sony, very few announcements, and even worse, there was no real connection with their fan base to show their thanks, to show appreciation, to talk about their new strategy. Xbox did this, and I think it really pushes them ahead. Ubisoft did this, and I think this really pushes them ahead. Yeah, this looks like a failed art project gone wrong.